Yeah,
Does that make sense, though?
it definitely makes sense. There's just a lot of avenues of like, you have a finite amount.
All right, welcome in. It's the Awesemo Odds NFL betting show. Technically, we talk other stuff, but for the most part, it's the NFL betting show. Myself, Ben Rasa, Mike Awesemo is in the house producing, and we have Thursday night football to look at. I see on the sheet we're going to go shopping again, which I can't wait to find the best odds and opportunity for you on OddsShopper, oddshopper.com. And look at this. It only took, 50 shows, but finally Ben Rasa has put in the run sheet, inserted into the run sheet, a college football rapid fire. I guess you were sick and tired of Shelton and Bloomfield hitting you on Monday with college look-ahead lines.
We had to do it. I mean, there's no doubt. It's because we're gearing up. Me and Matt G, we did our podcast, and he was saying there's no MAC teams in action basically this week. And the reason for that is because MACtion starts next week, Tuesday football. So we're going to have bets on bets. We got games tonight, but certainly I think most of the focus is on the super interesting Thursday night football game. You got the Packers walking wounded in some ways, going into Arizona to take on the lone undefeated team out there, which is never thought it would be the Cardinals, I'll be honest.
Can we real quick just look at Monday night? Because we always try and focus on some stuff that went right, some stuff that went wrong. I think generally we had the game script, which is it was going to be a struggle. The team total, 17.5 points. We went under that on Seattle. That hits that longest field goal. It took to the end, but it was a play off of the narrative that both of these offenses would struggle. You had a couple that I know you were looking at, especially from a total standpoint. So, and also the outright just winning of the football game. But I think for the most part, maybe a prop or two. Alvin Kamara over receptions. That thing hit right away, right? I mean, we did okay, I think.
Oh, I was very happy with that game. I really didn't have a strong take on the outcome of the game. We really talked about that. I know you were on the under a little bit. This is what I don't get about the Saints, and we don't need to spend a ton of time on it. Alvin Kamara needs to be catching the ball upwards of 10 times. I know you want to get him on the ground, but how electric is he? It was really refreshing to see. I mean, that prop was 3.5 in the morning that day. He had about 8 catches by halftime. It was a joke line. So we were easy prop there. Everything else was kind of gravy after that, but that's what we're going to hope to do here. Obviously, there's a lot of questions that I don't know anyone has an answer to in terms of what does Green Bay look like without their superstar on the outside, but there should be ample opportunities to take advantage of the prop market.
Let's look at the game itself. We'll have some player props here. As always, we ask you a couple of things. Lock up whatever play you have, the most confident bet that you're making. If it's tonight, NFL, college, World Series coming up, Saturday for college, Sunday for the NFL, you have a parlay that you want to work in, any soccer action, we're here for it. All right. So that's your lock it up. You tell us on the chat, hit that thumbs up button, please, and make sure you're subscribed as we get closer to 2K right around the corner here on 2K. Brandon Smith has one already up here. I love it. All right, so let's look at the game itself and start to examine, I think, the easiest element of attack, and that's, as you mentioned, what happens minus Davante Adams. That's a big factor here by all means. And from a total/side standpoint, 6.5, I don't know if that puts you over the top for Arizona. If you're looking at going under because you don't trust Green Bay's points, what's the biggest thing from a side/total that you see impacted without Davante?
Yeah, I think for sides, it's really difficult. I don't know what Green Bay is going to look like without Davante Adams. And it's not just him. Without Alan Lazard, MVS was already injured. I don't know if he's going to play, but if they don't have any of those guys, I mean, you're going to be left with Randall Cobb, who's not exactly an alpha on the outside. You've got Tanyan, and then you've got the backs. So for me, Green Bay would be wise to attack the front seven of Arizona. They're giving up 5 yards per rushing attempt, 31st in the league. To me, this screams as a ground game, and that means churn up a lot of clock. I took this at under 51.5. Put that on the breakfast menu yesterday. It's down to 50.5. I would still go under. I think this is a more methodical game. I wouldn't be stunned to see it a little lower scoring. I know you like those unders on Thursday Night Football.
You're speaking my language, my brother. And this is, as many times as we've hit this, I feel the most confident right now in that first half under. It's a great number at 24.5. You get the hook, as we see so often. Those 17 points can play where you have a team up. Just the 17 with the extra field goal. 23.5 is tough because that field goal puts you over. So 24.5 with that hook, this is a perfect opportunity to go under, because I think you're right, where both teams have the ability and should have the ability to run the ball, one in Green Bay out of circumstance and the other out of luxury with Arizona. So clock moves, Thursday night, short week. How many times have we seen this, Ben? Short week on a Thursday night, everybody expecting firepower. Just takes time.
Of course, this isn't college football. The clock doesn't stop after first downs. Like,
Right.
you can move the ball and still take a lot of time. And let's dig into a couple metrics here. Plays per game. Arizona does play pretty fast. They're 10th in plays per game. Green Bay's 26th, though. Sub 60 plays per game. They're very methodical. They don't run an up-tempo offense. And what does that mean? Average time of possession. Arizona, even though they run a lot of plays, they possess the ball a lot. Third in the league right now, almost 33 minutes per game. Green Bay is in the top half as well. They are 13th. So both teams want to possess the ball. I think when you get into those situations, never mind the fact that Green Bay is just, I don't think, going to be able to throw it down the field nearly as effectively. You've got Aaron Jones on one side. You've got Edmonds and Connor on the other. To me, this screams both running backs could have really, really big games, and that chews up a lot of clock. Give me the under.
Yeah, it's a great, I think we agree on that, especially from the game flow. I did see Nick Angel, I hope I pronounced the last name right. If betting Green Bay spread, would you bet it now or wait? You think it'll move in, if you are our, meaning a Green Bay better, our favor?
So I don't see anything to indicate that it's on the verge of moving either way right now, to be honest. But what I'd say is that if you have a spread at 6.5, to me, it's worth it to wait, because say Green Bay takes some money, then you get it +6. Okay, it's not ideal. Games land on 6. That's not the best. But if it moves to 7, that is so much more important for you. So to me, it's worth the risk to wait and hope that it ticks to 7, even for a second, and you grab it there. If it moves to 6, not that big of a deal. So no rush to beat it. If you like Arizona, you got to bet it now, because again,
Right.
Same concept. You don't want to be laying 7 points when 6.5 is out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think looking at it again, where we are hours before kick, there's a better chance that late money is going to come in on Arizona under 7 to push that up, I think, than to drop it. Like, it's not dropping below 6, but it could very well go to 7. I don't think it goes over 7, but no Devontae Adams. I think that's going to play into it, don't you think, as far as taking money?
I mean, obviously the spread right now, of course, has already swung wildly because of that news. But when I look at it again, even if for some reason, say Green Bay takes some money, it takes a good amount of money and it goes to 5.5, it's just not that big of deal. 6 is a number that games can land on, but it's not like 7. 7 is so much more important. So for me right now, it's not like it's on the tip of moving. I see -107 across the board, -110 across the board. Like, I don't see it where it's like, oh, Green Bay is 6.5 -130, which means it's about to tick. So
Right.
I think you're fine waiting. There's no rush.
It was like that at 6, and that's when it moved back to 6.5. It was at 6 for, I don't know how long, but I know it was at 6 for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it has come, obviously, before this news happened. I think it was 3, I want to say. It was 3 or 3.5. Yeah. And then it's obviously moved way up. I'd be stunned if it crossed 7. I would probably be pretty surprised even if it hit 7, but I'm in no rush to bet Green Bay. I probably won't bet the game in general. I did bet the under already, so I'm locked in. But I don't think when you're dealing with that number, you have to be too concerned right now.
I think you're going to get a great opportunity if my under first half is in play here, which I believe it is and hope it is since I bet it. But I think you're going to get a great opportunity for this number to hit somewhere in the low 40s as an in-game live total somewhere in the first half, maybe even towards the end of the first quarter, depending on how slow this is. But if you, and this is back to you right now, you went under 51.5, right?
Yes.
Where are you comfortable on a live, and it's not a specific number, but maybe a range? If you got over 40, then that's one hell of a window. And I get that you would jump all over that. That's an 11.5 point window with a couple of key numbers involved in that. 46.5, 47, something like that. Is that too thin of a window for you to create?
So I don't think there's when I'm live betting, it's obviously based on something that I'm seeing. So there are times, even if I have a 2 touchdown window, I don't want the other side of it because I think it could be really low and I don't like what I'm seeing. If I see that both teams are marching up and down the field and one team fumbled on the goal line and it looks like there's no stopping these teams, maybe I'll try to get in there. So for me, I'm very comfortable just saying, you know what, I like the under. I think the thing I feel the strongest about tonight is that the ground game is going to be utilized on both sides of the ball. And when that happens, the clock really ticks. So you've got really good teams, but that doesn't mean that points will be put up in bunches.
Couple of player props to look at anytime TD in business. Tyler Duda with the Robert Tonyan anytime TD. I'm going to get back to that specifically because we're going to talk a little bit about Tonyan. Also see Brandon, see you're under Lewis 18.5 receiving yards. Again, we're going to talk about a couple of things specifically, but because we're not going to spend a ton of time on it, I did want to at least just mention it. Greg SJ1 hitting us with an NBA total to lock it up tonight, Ben Rasa. The red hot Washington Wizards taking on the Hawks, going over 222.5. Lock it up, says Greg. They score.
They do score.
3-1, right?
I saw them play one time this year. It was frustrating because I was on the other side of that game. I bet one NBA game tonight. I bet the Knicks. My Knicks in Chicago. That's about it. But you know what? Greg is obviously loyal listener, very sharp guy. I may take a look at over 222.5.
What'd you get on that Knicks game?
I got 1.5 plus 1.5.
Boy, that Knicks Sixers game, I was getting killed on my local show here. Just mandating that if you do any betting that you should be taking the Knicks. Oh no, the Sixers. That was the easiest call from them. That was easier than your Alvin Kamara over receptions call.
Even I had the Knicks in that game. So, NBA is not my best sport, but
fine. All right, why don't you start with a player prop? Anything other than Murray rushing yards?
I mean, I do think we're gonna have to talk about that.
Well, let's do it. Let's jump in. Let's start there. Okay. 17. The magic number for me, Ben, is 17. 17 combined rushing yards over the last 3 games for Kyler Murray. Say what you will about his ability to move and say what you will about only needing one and all the other phrases that compile. He's simply not running anywhere like we're used to seeing him run. And if that's to throw the football more because you've got 15 guys you can throw to, whatever the case may be, under 27.5 Murray rushing yards, you might hear that again before the show wraps up.
It's hard not to. Kyler Murray can run. He's choosing not to. And it doesn't really matter what he can do. It's clearly right now, they have decided that that's not something that they want in their offense. He's getting down. He's not taking running lanes. He runs when he needs to, particularly around the goal line. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the year, but he's not running for chunk plays. I do think if you really like Green Bay in the game, that helps the over for Kyler's rushing yards. Because I think if they are down, that's the one thing we haven't seen is Arizona really be in trouble this year. I do think that Kyler will take it upon himself more and more. The problem is they're almost a touchdown favorite here. And if they are comfortably ahead, they're going to lean on James Conner. They're going to lead on Chase Edmonds. And they're not going to have Kyler running. They need him, obviously. And I think right now, why would you have him running if you don't need to? So I know he's got a handful of carries in each game, but it's hard not to lean under on that one continuously.
That's the thing, is that he does have a couple of carries and he's still not amounting to anything. So let's build off of that, because if you like the under on the rushing yards, that means, to Ben's point, you're not on Green Bay. But there's a name that you mentioned that I also saw in the chat, and this is the connection here, where if you're fading Kyler Murray running the football. James Conner, anytime touchdown now becomes live, I think. That's something that Aaron Cosgrove suggested on the chat as far as a lock it up. I feel like this is a live bet right now because goal line to scoring opportunities, Conner is going to be in that spot.
I like it. I think that's a really sharp call. I like his over on the rushing yards. It sits at 46.5, I believe we've got it at. Yes, 46.5. To me, this is a guy, he's had double-digit carries in every game except one this year. He is the goal line back. What's not to like? I think Arizona keeps it on the ground at sometimes. They should be leading if the spread is correct. James Conner should be in line for a pretty big game. And then you just look at the rushing attempts line. It's at 10.5. So it looks like he could see double-digit carries potentially in this game. If you're going to get 10 shots at it, 12 shots at it, I think you can go over his yards. And I certainly think he can find the end zone tonight.
Two tight ends to look at on my end here. And one just got taken off the board at BetMGM where they are powering the show. The odds, click the link below. We're going to send you to BetMGM. You can sign up. Upon your first wager, you're going to get 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum, and you're going to get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. So all the great things that you see and hear on this show and beyond on this channel, you can put to work at BetMGM right away. So one I just saw, it looks like all of the Packers in receiving props, player props, have been taken off the board. Rushing is still up there, but receiving is off the board. I had Tonyan at over 3.5. Now, it was a little bit of a lay. It was minus 150. It was kind of fluctuating back and forth. I wouldn't hate knowing I would probably get plus money going over 4.5 if that's what it is and comes back. But my reasoning in this is Aaron Rodgers is going to have to throw the football to somebody. He has an established relationship with the tight end already. And unless they're going to split Aaron Jones out every single play, chances are that Tonyan's going to get looks, more looks that he normally gets. 3-4 receptions, I don't think is a big ask.
So yeah, you mentioned someone's going to have to catch the ball. I think they're off the board because I want to see what's going on with MVS, just in the sense of can he give it a go? You've got Lazard and Adams, obviously not. I don't know what they're going to do, honestly. Again, I think it just leads to the run game. You mentioned Aaron Jones, but Tonyan is certainly an integral part of this offense week in and week out, not just because of the injuries. I think that someone like Mercedes Lewis is more that type of play where it's like if everybody's out, maybe this guy gets an uptick. Robert Tonyan will be busy regardless. So you can confidently deploy him, certainly in showdown and certainly in the prop market. I think he could really see an uptick here, and Green Bay's still going to have to throw if they're trailing. I think the goal for them, though, is keep the game close so they don't have to drop back 35 or 40 times tonight.
Brandon Smith had under Mercedes Lewis 18.5 receiving yards. I feel like if you can get Lewis on a receiving prop, you probably should, or maybe even, what's a stronger word than probably, just remove that. You should go under. Until you get burned by Mercedes Lewis, I feel like that's an underplay.
Yeah, I have no real interest in attacking the over for him. I do like the over for the backs. Aaron Jones is going to be extremely busy. A.J. Dillon is not known as a pass catcher. He was more of a bell cow at Boston College and so far, but he can catch the ball. It's not like they haven't given him some opportunities in spots. I think both backs are going to need to really help out Aaron Rodgers today. So when you look at that, you can get him on the board as well. It's just a matter of we need to get clarification exactly who's on the outside, and then we'll work backwards.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that we're still waiting and waiting. Let me give you one that is on the board here, one that I really do like, and it's a guy that I've seen play, win a Super Bowl here in Philadelphia. Love Zach Ertz to death, but he ain't catching over 34.5 receiving yards tonight. And it's mainly because look at what's happened. This is the A.J. Green bet. This is the A.J. Green game. A.J. Green is not like Antonio Brown, who has come back to normal before the meltdown, but Green is on the uptick. And Arizona did a great job finding him and being able to rely on him now recently. Christian Kirk, as much as it's this narrative that surrounds him that he's hit or missed, he's been consistent from a target standpoint. And then you have Rondale Moore, who is a big play guy. As volatile as he is, he's a big play guy. DeAndre Hopkins being hurt or possibly not even playing, it doesn't do more for me with Ertz. Here's the thing. You're running 10 personnel, 11 personnel. if you have Ertz on the field, one of those 4 receivers has to come off. And just because DeAndre Hopkins isn't on the field, Ben, doesn't mean that Ertz is automatically this great target. I think 34.5, as sharp of a number as it may be on the surface, I'm going under, and pretty emphatically going under that number.
Okay. I have no problem with that. I mean, I also think, for what it's worth, and I don't know, we're going to get clarification, I think Hopkins is going to play. So I'm not even worried about that, to be honest. Ertz, I'm not going to say that they were like, oh, we have to get this guy the ball, but, in a game that's 31-5, he caught a 47-yarder late in that game. Great catch, found the end zone. I think more often than not, there's a lot of mouths to feed. They're incredibly efficient. Arizona's averaging 9 yards per pass attempt. That's second in the league. Again, though, I'm going to really stick with this theme. I think this is kind of a ground game, and all the passing volume could be somewhat depressed when you have 5 guys. Kyler's only going to throw the ball upwards of 30 times. That's a lot of targets to share for, a lot of people to divvy up those targets. You're only going to get 5, maybe 4 targets for a guy like that. You need to really convert all of them if you're hoping to go over that number. So I think it's a volume issue with someone like Ertz right now.
I agree. No, I think volume is going to be a key phrase here. All right, before we move on from this game, anything else? Aaron Jones, 2 or more multiple touchdowns at plus 260, compared to what he is for a single TD at minus 150. Now, these are anytime, receiving, rushing. 2 or more touchdowns at plus 260 seems like a good place to start for an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously, I hope there's not that many touchdowns to go around. So that wouldn't be great for me.
They could get 14 points and it could be all Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones is clearly the most likely scorer. I think he's probably the most likely scorer in the entire game, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Just because of the way Arizona is constructed. They don't have, a pure alpha in that regard. They've got great players, but there's so many of them. I don't mind that. I think I may look to, like, what about like someone like Tanyan or Randall Cobb to find the end zone? Even first touchdown for guys like that, 14-1. I mean, low probability, but if you think Green Bay somehow strikes first and it's not Aaron Jones, you're going to get a big time payoff on any other Packer player.
Tanyan is the guy that I like. I like Tanyan at 1,400 for first. I like him at any time at plus 190. If there was a quote long shot, 1,100. Honestly, I mean, I feel like if you're putting a unit on Tanyan to anytime score, you might as well put a half to a quarter unit on 2 or more because of the likelihood of volume in the red zone. So those are good. I think those are great places to start. Arizona is going to be a little bit more of a crapshoot when it comes to the receivers. So I don't know. Like Zach Ertz at plus 900, I don't even know if that's worth it, as crazy as that sounds at plus 900, because these guys are all battling. It's the same number as Kirk and Green. There's no break.
No doubt. I have no interest in trying to play that guessing game. That's more of a DFS side. And of course, tonight you will see me, Lofty, and the boss man, Alex Baker, talking Thursday Night Football, bringing it all down. We do have our Thursday Night Football top plays for free today, as well as the projections in NBA and the NHL ownership. A lot going on in the sports world here. I know we're on the Awesemo Odds channel here, which is fantastic. If you have not subscribed, come on now. We are only like a dozen people away from 2,000. Let's just push over the top, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're doing it before Halloween. I don't care if I have to sign up my family members to this channel, but yeah, I'm not messing around with Arizona tonight.
All right, let's go shopping. And Odd Shopper, of course, is the place that it's already been aggregated for you. You don't have to do the research because Odd Shopper has done the research for you, and it's pulling in all of the probabilities, metrics, and data used on Awesemo in order to get you the best ROI and win percentage on bets, from the prop party parlays to just individuals to game props and even team and player futures. So where to begin today with going shopping? And look at that. I love that.
Look at that.
I love that pick, I should say.
So, yeah, I mean, I do the same thing every time. I go over to Odd Shopper. I click my filters. I personally sort by expected ROI just to see maybe some of the big time edges that we've identified. And the guys that show up, Aaron Rodgers rushing yards under 10.5 looks like a really good bet according to the algorithm. One we talked about, Kyler rushing yards under 27.5 has got some value, and Mercedes Lewis under 18.5. So I think right now I'm in line with this. Maybe it's a little more methodical of a game, just a lot of clock runs off. Looks like we're going for less volume across the board, a lot of unders on some of these numbers. And I think that's just a product of personnel and game flow.
Speaking of game flow, looking at the two overs that are right away on, and I'm in Pennsylvania here, of course, so I'm sorting in Pennsylvania. You can sort all states that are legal, and I'm on the expected ROI, largest to smallest filter here as well.
Yep.
We've talked about this line, these lines, these markets, if you will, where numbers are super low for quarterbacks that don't rush. And look at that. Mike White, who's starting for the Jets this week, and Jared Goff both have ridiculously low numbers. And the over is getting you a pretty good both win percentage and, especially for Mike White, a great ROI on that bet. Over 2.5 for Mike White and over 4.5 for, I gave that out for VI, for Vegas Insider, over 4.5 for Goff, just because of the likelihood, and we've talked about this, of getting to 5, getting to 6. I don't see the Lions in a situation where they're kneeling the clock out anyway. So I don't, and nor are the Jets going to be kneeling the clock out, Ben.
I mean, the Jets might be, because they might be down so much. They say, like, let's just mercy. No
Maybe
more
at
of
the
this.
first half. Could you imagine getting bit in the ass by Mike White kneeling the football in the first half because they're down by 20 and Robert Saleh's just like, get the hell back into the locker room?
They're going to be all right. Mike White he'll be just fine. But it's true. I mean, those are lines that
they're way
just, yeah. I mean, again, I say this often and I truly believe it. My favorite thing about Odd Chopper, of course, I love that they really know what they're doing, but it's more that they find these. You think I would have time to be looking at Mike White's rushing yards prop? Why would I be thinking about that? And now it's identified. Wow. And now I'm going to look at it. And clearly we're saying this is something that could really, really come to fruition. And that is the best thing. There's hundreds of props in NBA and NFL every single week. This sorts through all the nonsense that we don't need to worry about and gets you the ones that we really need to take a closer look at. So some of these rushing props for the quarterback, including Rodgers tonight, that is going to be on my card, and it's because of Odd Chopper.
And look at this. Kyler Murray, rushing yards, under 27.5. XROI is 35%, which I like. The win percentage is 72%, which I absolutely love. Now, that's telling you something right there. Maybe we're onto something.
You know, and I will say, EditBot in chat mentioned that the Packers have been gashed by the running QBs in recent weeks. I think that's a really good point. Maybe Arizona lets him go a little more. We're going to find out. I think that's not a crazy line to think about.
Can I push back on that just a little bit? And EditBot, this is not anything as far as pushing back on your point, but it's just the idea that the Cardinals are, and thank you first and foremost for the comment, but why now all of a sudden? It's not like Kyler Murray needs a benefit of a matchup.
Good point.
In order to thrive on the ground, right? Why change something all of a sudden where the last 3 weeks he could have done something?
I think it's a really good point. Some of the quarterbacks that have gashed the Packers, they don't run at all. And maybe they said, okay, this is one of the few times. It's not like Lamar gashed him. Lamar can do whatever he wants. And Kyler is similar to that when he wants to run. So I think that's definitely something. It's like any data point. We have to factor it in. I still lean under, but you know, these are props. Obviously, I wish there were all locks. That's just not how it works. We're just trying to win more than we lose here. And certainly Odd Chopper can help you do that.
All right, my friend, before we go and hit this college football rapid fire, any more lock it ups you have on the side there, let us know on the chat. We'll hit them and discuss. We had a great bunch so far, so we appreciate that, from tonight to the NBA to beyond. Let's roll through. Anything else from the shopping cart that we've built before we look at some college football rapid fire?
No, I mean, things will change as the lines with Green Bay. It's one of the many reasons you want to hop in our Discord. Honestly, we'll have updates leading up to lock. We got to see what's going on with the Packers side of the ball. We just don't know right now. That's why these props are off the board.
And the prop party parlayers.
Always gotta have a little prop
something
parlay
on that. We're gonna take when we have time. We're gonna take a couple of minutes because I think I found a way that you can maximize the return by using Odd Chopper's prop party parlay. But that's a little tease for maybe down the line. How about that?
Look at you.
College football. We have 2 games tonight. I'm all over Coastal, but I want to hear what you have first.
Well,
It's dropped, by the way.
I like Troy, so that's not a great start.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Troy's not that bad. I mean, listen, I think they're going to win the game? No, it is 17 points though. Over under is just 50.
6 against the spread this year, the Trojans.
Well, good, they're due. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what to make of Coastal. They're clearly not as good as they were. App State is good, but they're not that good, and they did lose that game. They come home, they should be angry. They should run the ball a lot, but I do think Troy will be able to score. Honestly, the other game is a little more interesting to me. It's definitely a hold your nose kind of play. I think that South Florida can hang in this game. Both these teams are pretty ugly, there's no doubt, but South Florida has been playing better of late. They lost by 8 to BYU. They were blown out by SMU. SMU is really good. They lost by 1 point to Tulsa, and then they beat Temple by 20 points. East Carolina, I mean, what is this team? They've got wins over Marshall, Charleston Southern, which isn't even a real team, and Tulane. They've been playing competitive games against better teams on the road, so I get that. But I'm just interested to see, can they blow out any team at this point? I mean, they handled Tulane with ease, but other than that, they have not been able to do that. A lot of close losses. I think I would take the 10 with 2 mediocre teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough. I get the problem, and I think the difference is schedule, right? Like who you look at UCF has played as you laid out versus ECU. So rankings are going to be skewed a little bit with that. The one area that seems to be sustainable is ECU's offense, right? Like you
score.
They do, and that's the only thing that I would look at. Honestly, I like the over in this game more so than anything else, because I think both teams' defenses are bad enough you're going to get some points, and ECU's defense is suspect enough that it can open some things up for USF. We already know that ECU scores. I think they're 62nd in the nation in passing for a bad team. So yeah, if you're laying the 10, then I'm going to take the over 56.5.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, South Florida isn't, they're just bad. There's no real way around it, but they're starting to show some life here and there. They're not a prolific scoring team, but as you mentioned, East Carolina's defense is no good. It's just a simple fact for me that when you get 2 bad teams like this, if you're going to give me a reasonable amount of points, I'll take that, because I think there's a lot of regression opportunities. I don't think the difference between a team like ECU and South Florida on any given night is that big.
No, by no means. I still can't believe I was on Coastal at 18.5, and now it's down to 17. Now I know it's moved in the opposite direction for me, but
let's go.
The Trojans
taking all the money over here. That's terrible. What I like to say.
They're just a bad football team.
Yes, confirmed. I've bet them several times this year. Confirmed bad football team, but they have not been. I mean, they did lose to Louisiana Monroe, which is really bad, but I just don't know if they're going to get their doors blown off here.
No, they won't, and I'll give you that. But here's the thing. Okay, the one thing you have going for you is that Troy is a top 30 defense in the country. That's the only thing.
It's a methodical game. Coastal's very methodical. They only really run for the most part.
No, this is an under 52 play every single day of the week. In fact, I like the totals in these 2 games, I think, more than a side.
It's just a really thin margin to cover 17 points if you think the game goes under 50.
Well, that's the thing. That's why if I had my choice, I would play the under.
Yeah, no, and that's more, I kind of like the under too. And that's why I like the points with Troy, because if you only have 45 points in a game, if you're getting 17, that's a huge number and something like that. It's not like Ole Miss where it's like, oh, I'm getting 14, but the over under is 85. Well, that doesn't make that big of a difference. So these aren't the best games on the slate, but they are tonight. So if you're looking for some action tonight, give me the dogs. Give me Troy and South Florida with the points.
I'm going to go under 49. I am actually already locked in. Under 49.5 on Saturday, the Indiana-Maryland game. Don't see a lot of points in that one.
Interesting.
Yep. 49.5, I think, is a decent number, but I like the under in that.
I'll take a look. I honestly, Maryland's a dumpster fire. So is Indiana right now.
Which is why I like the under.
My favorite bet.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, please.
One more before you hit the favorite bet, then we lock it up. Iowa State at West Virginia went over 48.5 there.
Oh, you're going on these totals. You're on a total spray.
Yeah. Well, I can't bet Oklahoma.
No,
live.
You don't want to do that. Oklahoma is a massive favorite, but I like Wake Forest as a massive favorite this week. I really do. I don't understand this line. I think, I'll be honest, I think I'm missing something because it just doesn't add up in my mind. Wake Forest is 16-point favorite. They just scored 70 points against Army. They did give up 56 for what it's worth.
Yep.
Duke is coming off a game. They registered a whopping 0 points against Virginia's awful defense. They lost 48-0. You want to play the transitive property game? Wake Forest played Virginia. Wake Forest on the road, and they beat them by 20. So I don't really understand why Wake Forest at home wouldn't crush Duke. Duke is awful. Duke has lost to Charlotte. This team is not even remotely competent. It feels like Wake is going to score upwards of 50 points again. Why would Duke score 35 points in this game? I think that Wake Forest absolutely rolls them. But again, the line, I thought this would shoot north of 17, and that hasn't happened. So I am a little concerned.
Hi, my friend. It is about that time where we tell everybody to lock it up, whatever the favorite play is across the entire stretch of the NFL, college, what I see NBA, whatever it may be. WNBA, if you're privy on that, is that season still? I think the season's over there. So
yeah, the Candace Parker's team, congratulations to them. I don't know their name, but I know Alex Baker does, and he was very excited. I think they might be the Chicago team.
Did he have? I'm sure he had a futures play on them.
He probably did. He was there. So
yes, definitely did. So all right, I'm going to cheat because we're not on tomorrow. So I'm going to cheat and give you two. I'm going to give you one tonight and two same game parlays. All right. They're only two legs each. They're only 2 legs each. Okay, Ben? First tonight, Arizona Cardinals on the money line. I think we both agree that the Cardinals win this football game, correct?
I think they're certainly more likely to win than lose. Yes.
Okay. Look at you. You always have a caveat.
I do.
I love it.
It depends what the line is. What are you getting on that? Like,
I love it.
In the twos?
No, I have the Cardinals on the money line, and that same game parlayed
90,
with under 30. I'm sorry?
Yeah, like I was just looking at their money line, minus 290, I see. Yeah. So that's fair. The sky. Thank you.
Under 39.5 rushing yards for Kyler Murray. So I went to the max that you could play and then went under. If we're under 27.5, then I'm going to push that up to the max and go under. And that same game parlay gets me plus 105.
Okay.
Do you like
What's your second one? You have another one, right?
I do. This is also at plus 105. Detroit Lions have been bumped up to plus 8.5 in the first half. Under 24.5 points in the first half. Eagles Lions. Lock it up.
I got the Zach Galifianakis meme with the I'm trying to visualize what we're doing. You're adjusting. You got sliders, and now we got Kyler Murray under 40 yards rushing. There's a lot going on here. I think in theory I'm on board with those, though. Not gonna lie.
That's fine.
We're like the Lions.
Out of time anyway, so you wouldn't fight me on it.
No. Save time. It's for the people. You got the no faith in your birds, but I don't really either at this point.
Oh, we got a head coach talking about growing flowers. I have no faith in anything here. No,
that's a tough scene. All right, I'm gonna keep it a little more generic. I like under 50.5 tonight. I think that we both think that the game could be played at a slow pace. We think the Packers might deploy a ground heavy game with Dylan and Aaron Jones. That's their best chance to win the game. Obviously, that's their priority. They don't care about player props. They need to win this game. And I think being really heavy on the ground accomplishes just that. If you want, I will certainly have plays this Saturday when we break down live before lock for the college football slate. But I do think that Wake Forest and Kentucky are teams to keep an eye on. They've been great for me all year. I'm not going to stop that now. So we got a lot on the horizon the next couple of days. Really exciting time here at Awesemo Odds. Again, we appreciate you guys. The support on this show has been fantastic. If you are new and you've hopped in and you're enjoying yourself, just hit that subscribe button right there. Totally free. Just help support us. And the like button. That's the best way to help out this show. It is much appreciated on our end.
And we're helping you by that link.
We hope.
The video. Go to BetMGM. Take all these plays or the plays you like, or just Ben's plays, whatever it may be. Sign up, BetMGM, $10. When you bet that, you're going to get 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You're also going to get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. All right, Ben. You and Pete on Sunday morning. You and me back Monday afternoon. Odd Shopper, keep shopping out there. Keep firing out there. Thanks again. Thanks to Mike for producing. And we'll see you all. Well, we'll see you this week.